Okay guys, I thought that I would check in, and tonight's vlog is just gonna be me talking. It is actually the day after, so it's Dave's birthday today. We didn't vlog anything yesterday, simply because my sister got taken into hospital yesterday. As you know, there's a lot been going on in the background with social services, and yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, I can tell you that. So Davina got taken into hospital yesterday to be induced because baby's due on the 11th, I think, or the 12th, one or the other. Davina will probably kill me because I always forget. It's either the 11th or the 12th. So as you know, I don't even know where to start. I really do not know where to start, because there is just so much to say. But I'm going to give you a little rundown of everything that's been going on. So back in 2011, Davina had her son removed for an injury that had been caused to a certain part of his body. And following this, they did an investigation and they found there was no evidence. So I'm not sure how it carried on. I don't know whether social services carry it on or whether the CPS carry it on, but it went to court and the judge found findings that it was on a probability that Davina had caused this injury. Now, we always say that we have to keep an open mind, you know, because we're not saying that Davina's done it and we're not saying Davina's not done it, because that's the way we've got to look at it, for the safety of our own kids and obviously to help protect Davina. So basically, when Declan was removed, she has spent the last like 10 years fighting to try and get Declan back. This was under Salford Social Services, and to be fair, they just failed Davina anyway, really badly. They promised her this and they promised her that, and it got to a point where Salford had turned around and said, the only way we're going to work with you is if you admit to causing the injury, basically. And Davina was in two minds, like whether to just admit to it, not because she'd caused the injury or she believed she'd caused the injury, but because she wanted as much help as she could get so she could get her son back. So in the meantime, like in between that, she'd had a daughter, which is Grayson, and they removed Grayson as well under, I can't remember what it was under. I don't actually think it had a category when it came to court, but it basically comes under physical abuse. So Grayson was removed and Grayson stayed with her dad, and Davina still has contact with Grayson. Anyway, she's done loads of like therapy and groups and courses and stuff like that, but some of the courses that she really needed to do, she wasn't able to get on the NHS at the time, or it wasn't available. And I think this was like a therapy that was only available through the social services, and they just kept basically rejecting to send her for this therapy work that she needed. But this therapy work now is available on self-referral, so Davina has done that now, and there's loads of other stuff that she can be doing to help obviously keep this baby. Unfortunately, they are going to remove this baby when the baby is born under the Physical Abuse Act, I think. So baby was going to be placed with Carl's parents, but we're not too sure what's going on. Me and Dave are being assessed, so if it comes to it, baby could possibly be coming to us. If that's the case, obviously, because they try and class us as foster parents, we won't be able to show the baby. So once there's a court order on the baby, we won't be able to show any pictures, any videos, unless Carl gets the baby back. Which I've got no doubt in my mind that they won't place the baby back with Carl. I can't see why they wouldn't. What I do believe is that the place that they're living at the minute is their biggest downfall, and I really feel like if they got away from that, then that it would make things look a whole lot better. Look a whole lot better. It's just, I always say this because I never want to put anyone down, because everyone's got their own problems, and you know, everybody's got a reason, or somebody's had a really bad time and that's why they end up in a situation that they probably wish that they could get out of. But the place where Carl lives is not the best place, and there's a lot of people in them flats that do inappropriate things, basically. Not like, how can I put it with keeping it sounding child friendly, they're just using substances that are not appropriate, basically. And it's not, you know, everyone to their own. If that's what they choose to do with their life, that's up to them. But I just feel like, me personally, you know, if I was in this situation, then I wouldn't want my child to be growing up and smelling stuff and seeing stuff and seeing people, you know, not in a particular way you want a child to see somebody, if you know what I mean. So I think in that respect, I think like their main priority should be definitely finding a new house, because that is the starting point. But anyway, like I said, baby is going to be removed. I don't really want to go into too much detail, because I'd rather sit down and do this with Davina, or let Davina tell the world her own story, because she's lived it, and I don't want to feel like I'm trying to, what's the word, like take over and, you know, tell the world what her experience has been, because my version of it could be totally different to her version of it. It's really, really hard for me as a sister to watch my sister go through this. And even though she might think that I don't show it, it absolutely breaks my heart that she's going to have her baby taken off her, when I know she would be the best mum. And all she wants is that chance to prove it. And it just feels like they're just constantly shutting her down. I just wish that there was more that I could do. I sit there day and night thinking and thinking and thinking, what can I get, what can we look for, what can we do, what can she do to show him that she's a better person, that she's done this and she's done that. I've even put posts out begging people to come forward and help, or asking for advice, asking doctors and nurses. Luckily enough, I've got a friend that lives at the end, and she's advised us on some therapy that Davina can go for, which is really good. But it's just on a self-referral. You don't know how long it's going to take for that to be sorted out or come through. It could take months, it could take years, you know, and she hasn't got that time. You know, we want to try and get this baby back with Davina as fast as we can, because a baby needs its mum. You know, I think what really gets to me, that these social workers always go on about being open and honest, and they're, you know, they make you feel like you can't have an opinion about them, because then you're refusing to work with professionals, or you're not understanding the seriousness of something that's happening, or you know, you're not accepting it, you're trying to push blame onto somebody else. The fact of the matter is that Davina had changed her whole life since losing her last daughter. She'd got a job, she'd been for therapy, she'd been to rape crisis, she'd been to a doctor's and sought help. And you know, sometimes I'd sit here and I think, has she been set up? Because that's how it's starting to look. Have they purposely made her look like she's done something? You know, like I said, we have to keep an open mind because of the findings that have been made by a court. But that doesn't mean that I can't have my own personal view or opinion, because under the Human Rights Act, I am entitled to my own opinion and my own views. And they can't take that away from me. But what they do think they can do is use that against you and make you look like you're a bad parent. Although they can't do that to me, because I am far from a bad parent. And I would never ever put my kids in any danger. I've been there. I've lived the life of being abused. I've lived the life of being mentally abused and physically abused. You know, I don't really talk about my experiences. I don't really talk about it. I'm open with it because I don't feel like I should have anything to feel ashamed of or worried about. And I just feel like they shouldn't be allowed to mentally make you believe that you shouldn't be supporting somebody because they made findings. The courts made findings. Now, I've read all these court papers, I've read all these documents, and again, keeping an open mind, but I have still read these papers, and it is clear in black and white from a medical report where they turn around and say Davina doesn't remember or recall Declan making any complaints about an injury leading up to this day when Declan was removed. Now, the school said exactly the same thing. So me and a lot of other people look at this and think, how can you make findings on somebody if they've said exactly the same as the nursery or the school has stated? But this injury was found on this day. So why didn't he complain on the other 3 days, only this day? That, to me, if I was a judge or a solicitor, then I would personally look at that and think, well, if there was no complaints on them days and she didn't notice any complaints on them days, that tells me it happened on that one day, which excuse me, would tell me that that injury could possibly have been caused in school, either by a member of staff or a child, or it could have been caused naturally. There is loads of, what's the word? There is loads, I can't even think of the word, but there is a word. It's in my head, I just can't think of it. There is a lot of things around this injury that you can look at and things that can cause this type of injury. 1, being tight pants. 2, being a water infection. 3, also being the medication that Declan was taking. 4, being that it could have possibly been a sign that he was going to get leukemia. It just feels like all of these things have just been ignored and not looked into, and they've just automatically thought, well, Davina's been abused, so she must have done it. And I'm not personally saying, you know what, she didn't cause that injury, because it's possible that she could have caused that injury. Davina knows my personal feelings because we talk to each other, but for my safety and to protect my children, we still state that we have to accept the judge's findings. Davina is really good with her nieces and her nephews, and I've got no concerns whatsoever with Davina being around my children. There is many of my friends and family that have spoke to Davina, seen Davina with my kids, and she gets on with them. Even when we've had our arguments and we fell out, when we get talking again, it's like we've never stopped. You would not think that we've ever fell out, because we just go straight back to being exactly how we was, because that's what sisters do. And that's exactly the same way as it is with her nieces and her nephews. They still have that banter and they still laugh together. The one thing that I really do, that really upsets me, is that when she's around the kids, I can see it in her face that she thinks, is she watching me? Does she think that I do something to the kids? And especially with Aurora, it's like she does interact with her, but you can tell, like, when Aurora's trying to get her to really interact with her, that she's scared. She's scared that it's just really hard. It's really hard to explain that, to say it. But I always tell Dave that, you know, it's like, I see, like, when I'm going to change her bum, she won't look. She'll turn her head. She thinks that I don't notice, but I do. And I think she shouldn't need to feel like that. You know, why don't the social services come and assess her around my kids? Come and see exactly how her relationship with my kids is, and then they'll understand how good she is with them. They've got loads of opportunities to come here. I don't mind them coming here. I don't mind them assessing Davina being here with my kids, seeing how good she is with them, you know, showing how she discipline them, you know, because she is their auntie after all, you know. So if they're being naughty, she's entitled to say, no, you know, you don't do that, you don't do this, you know, this is how you do it. And she does that. She doesn't shout at him. She doesn't, I don't even know. She doesn't, like, what's the word? When I'm trying to think on the spot, I really just can't think. I'm no good at this. She doesn't, like, raise her voice in an inappropriate manner, or, you know, make them feel like, oh, I'm not going near her because she shouts at us. Because she doesn't shout. If the kids are doing something wrong, she'll say, no, you're not supposed to do that, because that's not nice, or, you know, she doesn't say that that's not naughty, because we don't really use that word. We do it for, like, joking around. We'll say, no, that's naughty. But I think kids understand better when you say naughty and good, because it's kind of learning them, no, that's wrong and that's right. But that is one of the things that really upsets me, because I just feel like, you know, I shouldn't have to sit there and feel like I've got to supervise my sister, even though, you know, we've got to. And we understand the reasons why we have to for the time being, because the main issue is that Davina doesn't have any unsupervised contact with her own children yet, which is understandable, because if she was having unsupervised contact with my kids, then that could possibly have an effect on her daughter, because obviously not a son because he's passed away now, but it could have an effect on her where they think, well, you're seeing your aunt, you go and see your nephew and nieces, but you can't have me, you know. So in that respect, I understand that, you know, it's probably best that way, because then Davina doesn't have to explain that to Grayson. And then when, at the minute, Davina's just having assessments done now to have unsupervised contact with a daughter. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that all goes to plan, because that's with the discharge team now. So with a bit of luck, things will start progressing with that, and I really hope and pray to God that something just good comes out of all of this, and that helps as well towards getting baby boy back with her. So like I said, I don't really want to go into too much detail, but Davina is possibly going to be giving birth. Well, we thought it'd be today on Dave's birthday, but she seems to have got away with that, so it probably won't come tonight. So I should imagine it'll either be tomorrow or over the weekend, but we'll keep you guys up to date. Hopefully, if it does come tomorrow, then she probably will get a couple of days with him, because they won't be able to get a court order until Monday. So she'll have a bit of time to bond with him, which is, again, just really, really breaks me heart, because how can anybody, after so long, you know, it's been 10 years, 11 years, not sit there and just say, we can work with her, we could possibly keep this baby with its family. I understand, like, some of the stuff that's been written down that need to be addressed, like the therapy, you know, and Davina's working on that now, which is good. So if we can get as many therapies are into, if there is any nurses on here or doctors that can recommend any therapy that Davina can attend or self-refer herself to, then please can you send us an email with any information. I will definitely leave the email address in the description below, and if you just email us anything that you think would help and help with social services, would, seriously, we would just be so grateful. But yeah, so baby will be removed, hopefully not for too long. So there's a possibility that baby could be coming to us, excuse me, or it could possibly go into Carl's mum. So we will keep you up to date with that and let you know. Obviously we'll be able to talk about baby, we just won't be able to show him, basically, unless the courts agree that we can, and hopefully we can try and work a way around that. If anybody knows, like, a legal way around it where we can show the baby, because I am his auntie, I know he's going to be on a child protection plan, but I should imagine, like, there is still rules for aunties and uncles, because I mean, I know he probably can't go on YouTube, but I mean, like, on personal Facebook, or if Davina gives permission. I'm not too sure how all this works. I know they still class you as a foster carer, which is wrong in my eyes, because I don't want anything from him. I'll be able to, if he came here, I'd look after him myself, I'd fund everything for him. Well, me and Dave would. I don't want any help from the social services whatsoever. I don't personally like him, and I don't personally like Davina's social worker. Again, that is my own opinion, because I'm entitled to it. And it's not that I don't like her personally, I don't like the way she's treated Davina and Carl. I think the way she's gone around things is dirty, unprofessional, sneaky, and it just, if you were sat here and you had seen everything that I've seen, you would see that it definitely looks like they just want to take a child. That's exactly how it looks to me. The worst thing about all this, half of her assessments, half of the stuff they've wrote in these assessments is rubbish, and she's recorded them, and they've still wrote rubbish and lies and brought stuff up that is irrelevant. They've literally cherry picked at every single thing because they've got nothing. So they've gone from everything through past, well, you've done this and you've done that, you know, you've suffered mental health and you've tried to take your own life. The only reason Davina, by the way, tried to take her own life was because Salford Social Services tried to make her admit to doing something and accepting the judge's findings. If I was in her shoes, then I don't know how I would have felt. But nobody knows how somebody feels unless you're in that situation. So she obviously felt like at that time she just wanted to give up. If you've been fighting for all that time and getting nowhere, I don't even know how I'd feel. And the thought of having your baby taken away from you, I hate thinking about it now. I hate thinking like what's going through her head, how does she feel, and it's even worse because I just want to be with her and be able to put my arms around her and tell her that everything's going to be okay. But I can't, obviously, because of COVID and all the restrictions and stuff. But she'll be watching this tonight. So I just want to say to Davina that I love you so, so much. And you can do this. You can prove to them that you can be the best mum. And don't let them make you feel like you are anything different. Because the minute they feel that they've got to you, they've won. Don't let them win, because you can get your baby boy back. There's other people out there that have done it. You can do it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I'm so emotional. And I don't want to keep crying. So, like I said, if any of you guys have got any help, support or anything, we do have a petition that we had. I think we've only got like 120 odd that have signed. But if we could get that petition to where we need it to be, then that could possibly help her get it through Parliament. It's just being able to get that. So I'll try and leave the link again so you can go and sign it, but for some reason we're just having trouble with the link and people are saying that they can't open it. But if you inbox me, then I'll try and send you the link and then you can share it or pass it on to other people and see if you can get anyone to sign it. We would be so grateful. If there's any, you know, if there's any bigger YouTubers on here that can take it and share it, I don't want a shout out for our channel or anything, but if there is anybody that ever comes across this, then please, I beg you, if you can share the link to get this petition to where Davina really could get it. I mean, this isn't just for Davina. I know go on about Davina, but obviously my thoughts and feelings are with Carl as well. So don't think that, you know, this is just all about Davina. It's not just all about Davina. This is about Carl and Davina, you know, and their baby, because they need to show that they're a unit and they're going to stick together. I know if it comes to it, Carl would prefer to take the baby and Davina and Carl split for the time being. That is an option. But I just sit there and think, Davina's just going to be left again on her own. because if the baby came here, then I'd only be able to talk to her by phone or text and stuff like that, or FaceTime, and then so she wouldn't really have anyone to come and see, and then she wouldn't have Carl. So it's just full of emotions at the minute. And then I just don't know. Anyway, I'm going to end this vlog because it's probably going to be, I don't even know, 45 minutes long, and Dave will just be going crazy. But I just thought I'd share what's happening, what's going on, a few of my thoughts and feelings. And again, I will end this video saying that we always keep an open mind to the findings made in the courts. But yeah, love you all, and I especially love you, sister, and you, Carl, by the way. He always sends me messages saying, why does she always pull her face like that? Because I do. But he always watches the vlogs and just pauses it just to see if he can get funny faces. But anyway, love you all. I'm going to go and carry on vlogging. We have vlogged today because it is Dave's birthday. So that's not the only reason why we vlogged, by the way. But we are trying. Obviously, a lot of you know it's just a difficult time at the minute, and there's just so much going on, so just bear with us. Hopefully normality will eventually reappear. But yeah, thank you for all of your support. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell, even though it does nothing. Or is that what it says? I don't even know what it says. I just listen to it at the end. But yeah, anyway, we do this every single day, so I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. See you later. Bye bye.